Hi everyone, and welcome to another LTV Plus webinar. Today I'm joined by Chris Keane at Smarter. Now I know everyone was expecting Gabby to be here, but unfortunately Gabby's unwell. So Chris is here standing in for Gabby, just as pretty as Gabby as well. So never on to that. But Chris, would you like to introduce yourself to everyone?
Yeah, I don't know if I can compete on that front, but yes, as Shirley mentioned, I'll be standing in for Gabby, doing my best impression. Hello, everyone. I'm the director of marketing here at Smarter. Happy to be here.
Thank you very much, Chris. So today we're going to be discussing the topic of how you actually, or the top 10 ways to boost post Black Friday, Cyber Monday customer retention. So we thought we'd bring along Smarter, who are a big partner of ours, to help talk about all the tips that we've got to help you retain those customers once Black Friday and Cyber Monday is over. So we'll go into a little bit of a screen share here, and so you can see what we're talking about. Can you see everything now?
Yeah, that's good.
Perfect. Great. So, Chris, first of all, I think it would be great for you to kind of talk a little bit about who Smarter are, and then I'll talk about the agenda.
Yes, certainly. I'll give the quick introduction to Smarter and just on the topic itself. Very relevant to what we do as a company. So here at Smarter, our platform powers subscription, loyalty, and analytics for growing Shopify brands. What really sets us apart from other players in the space is that in additioning to powering the repeat billing that goes along with subscriptions, it's really our focus on the post-purchase experience and better enabling customer engagement that's really going to drive brand loyalty and keep customers coming back for more, as it says on the screen, helping these brands keep more of their customers for life. So that's a little bit about the Smarter platform, and obviously very relevant to the topic we'll be discussing today.
Awesome. Thanks, Chris.
Mhm.
So, on the agenda itself, we will be discussing the top 10 tips. So, Chris will talk a little bit about the post holiday subscription opt in, the discounts that come around that, the post purchase engagement hub, and then we're going to talk about one time add ons and trending upsells that boost lifetime value. We'll talk a little bit about the loyalty rewards. We'll talk about customer surveys, and then we'll talk on the LTV Plus side of things about how we're working with businesses to help with failed payment recovery, recovering those crucial abandoned shopping carts, and then proactive personalization and follow-ups to your high-value customers. Then we're going to talk about benchmarking SLA expectations for each channel in order to keep your customers happy and staying connected after the rush. So without further ado, let's dive straight into it, Chris. Target those customers with a post-holiday subscription opt-in discount. How do we go about doing that?
Yeah, for sure. And I think first things first, I'd be remiss to not even talk about actually trying to get that opt-in at the time of purchase. I think Black Friday, Cyber Monday, perfect time to capitalize on that increase in one-time purchasers. And so I think going into the holidays with a plan to convert them into subscribers is probably the most important thing we'll talk about today. And we have a lot of tactics to do so. So starting at the time of purchase, aside from making sure that the option to subscribe and save is front and center on your PDP with your best offer, I think that's kind of step one. With Shopify checkout extensions and other customizations, actually having that one-time upsell to subscription right at the time of checkout can really increase your conversion rate into driving more subscribers. So I would start there and think about that moment of purchase. Are you actually asking and driving people towards that subscription? Would be step one, and really taking advantage of the increase in traffic you're going to see and all those hopefully one-time purchases. Let's say, moving on, you don't get that upsell at checkout, even though you've done everything in your power to do so. Obviously, a lot of opportunity still remains to get that opt-in after the holidays. So after the holidays, I think what's most important is to have those post-holiday email campaigns ready to go. And I think what's most important here is don't just hit them with the same offer. in that email really lay out the benefits of subscribing and what subscribers will get if they opt into that subscription. Something else you can do along with in these emails, along with the benefits of subscription, is having bundles ready to go. So assuming you get those one-time purchasers and they have that amazing first experience with your product, having the other products you want them to try ready to go, get that upsell, and get them trying more of your product catalog. Great way to increase long-term value of those one-time purchases. One example.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead, Joe.
No, I was saying that's fantastic because, again, I think you raise a really important point there, that it's not just a post-holiday thing, that businesses, and especially subscription businesses, should be doing this throughout the year, right?
Yes.
And I think that's a point that a lot of people miss.
Yeah, I think you raise a really good point that this is generally like a best practice, even more so during the holidays. And a really good example of this we have on the slide is a company called Slate Milk. Not only in their email flow do they really lay out, you can see some of the copy they use there to try to drive people to subscribe to their product. If you go to their website, they have a whole landing page dedicated to what subscribers can expect and why it's better to subscribe versus becoming that one-time purchaser. I think that's something brands often overlook. They think maybe a 10 or 15% discount to subscribe and save is enough. But really there's a whole nother layer of that you can go to show that value. And ultimately that's what's going to drive the long-term value here and retention.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And I think one other thing to add, if you want to just go back to the slide, Chili, I think when you're crafting these offers and these emails and the follow-up, one thing to keep in mind is to keep your current subscribers front and center when you're thinking of these offers. The only reason I say that's like going into the holidays, it's very tempting to put better offers out into the world than what you're currently offering your subscribers. I would just say it's not a great practice. Your current subscribers will see that and will likely unsubscribe and subscribe at the better discount. It will cause all types of data issues and poor CX. So going into the holidays, start with your current subscribers, think about the offer, what you want to be exclusive to them, and then go from there when creating these first and one-time upsells. Would just be my big point here.
I'm so glad you mentioned that, because there's nothing more frustrating than seeing offers for new customers only. I think it just really puts people off brands. And I know for myself, I'm speaking for myself, it's just so frustrating when you see that. And as you say, the temptation then to unsubscribe and then resubscribe is, it's a no-brainer for some people. So yeah, very great tip there. So thank you for sharing that. Thank you. So moving on to post-purchase engagement.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So this is really at the heart of a lot of what we do at Smarter, and really our core belief is, once you've acquired that subscriber, that's really just step one in a long process of building lasting brand loyalty, which I think is the ultimate goal of a lot of brands. You want those customers to keep coming back, not just renewing those subscriptions, but actually telling other people about the product and spreading that word of mouth. And really, we think that begins with a great post-purchase engagement hub, or as we call it, like a customer account portal, to actually have one centralized place where this engagement can happen. And first and foremost, it starts with giving customers the ability to flexibly manage their subscriptions. I think there's nothing more frustrating for a customer than not having that ability to either skip a shipment, send something now, swap out items in their subscription. And while those are kind of the classic options, going a step further and giving customers the opportunity to maybe gift a subscription. So again, leveraging that brand loyalty you've managed to cultivate into bringing in new customers is something you can do from the customer account portal. It's also a great place to highlight member-only discounts, exclusive perks and products. And I'm going to talk more specifically about loyalty and rewards and what else you can put into the engagement hub. But I think the most important thing we want to take is having that central hub where people can go and engage with their subscription as they see fit, and have those experiences that, delight, are seamless, and will keep people coming back, is the first step from one, acquiring that customer, to constant engagement that is going to ultimately lead to higher LTV, that comes along with the loyalty you're cultivating.
Awesome. I particularly love the option to actually gift something to someone else, because that's marketing in itself, pure great marketing, because I'm gifting something to a friend who may love it and decide to subscribe themselves.
Yeah.
So the option to gift is superb.
Yeah, and I'd actually highlight that as a great holiday tactic, especially for brands that have existing subscriber bases. Again, you'll probably want to offer your subscribers some kind of holiday offer, but if they're already subscribing, how can you leverage them in your Black Friday, Cyber Monday plans? Would be actually to actively promote that gifting option. So if you're already subscribed, hey, here's a great discount to go out and gift something this holiday, to someone you know.
Brilliant. And then upselling, always a trending topic. Talk to us about what you guys are seeing in upselling.
Yeah, and so this tactic and the next one definitely go hand in hand with what we just talked about with that central hub and the customer account portal. So once you have that subscriber and you're driving that engagement, you're seeing that traffic to the hub, as your customers start to engage with their subscriptions. This is really the opportunity to put new products in front of them in a way that will increase conversions. And I think there are two tactics that we see really work for brands in the portal: in one-time add-ons and trending upsells. So you can see in the screenshot here, right next to where a customer is going to manage their subscription, you have your top sellers as one-time add-ons that they can add to their cart right from the portal. A great way to get customized product recommendations right in front of your customers, at a moment when they're obviously actively engaging with your brand. The second, which we see be very successful, is having trending upsells and really leveraging influencers or user generated content, whatever you have in your network, right within the account portal itself. So it could be below where they manage their subscription. It could take the place of that one-time upsell module. But having those trending upsells front and center is a great way to get your active subscribers to add more products to their cart and ultimately increase AOV and long-term value.
Brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And what about these? And again, we're talking about a lot about this, the upsells and stuff like that. But then this next slide is one of my favorite ones, actually. Strategically positioning someone, the loyalty rewards to incentivize behavior. Can you talk to us about how you were helping your brands do that?
Yeah, and starting with loyalty, I think a lot of people think it's really hard to get a loyalty program off the ground. I think the belief is it require a lot of customization, a lot of thought. At Smarter, we've made it super easy to launch loyalty and rewards programs for subscribers. We call it like subscription first loyalty programs. And again, going back to that central hub, having these loyalty and rewards programs front and center in the customer account portal itself. So typically, going back to the screenshot we showed before, you have the ability to actively manage that subscription as you see fit, and right below that, you're seeing your loyalty and rewards. And I think here, the important thing to keep in mind when starting to set up these loyalty programs is just trying, what behavior do you really want to drive from loyalty? So going back to rewarding your subscribers for maybe trying new products, for referring friends, for every amount of subscription orders. So maybe every fifth order, they're getting a certain amount of loyalty points that they can redeem for products or other experiences that you see really drive brand loyalty. Another really smart thing to do would be, take a look at your retention, your cohort retention charts, and see if there's a drop off in your subscription renewals, and line up loyalty points with when you see that drop off. So if you're seeing a drop off after the third or the fifth order, set it up so that those customers are getting a certain amount of loyalty points to continue after that order. It can really have an effect, a positive effect on retention, and obviously then LTV down the road.
Awesome. I like loyalty points. I collect loyalty points for my shopping, for like nearly every shop that I do, I collect all the loyalty points. And it's just when you're about to get to that, that next barrier or that next level, you sometimes just buy something else just to get to that next part of the loyalty scheme. So I can really see how that really works. And I also love that all this can be done through the smarter platform, correct?
Yes, super easy to configure. And then again, right in the customer account portal, customers will see how many points they have, what are their options to redeem them, and then what rewards they would get for referring new customers. And that's all very easily customizable.
Awesome. Now, talk to us. Why would someone ever want to leave?
Yeah, I think that, this is clearly would never be a problem for anyone who's listening. But this is really the one, not only a great opportunity to collect data, but is a great moment to increase retention. So, and this, going back to what we were talking about before, this is really should be an evergreen tactic, but even more so during the holidays when you hopefully see that influx of customers, is having retention and cancellation flows ready to go for your various reasons that people would cancel a subscription. So first of all, it's like setting up the reasons why people cancel, really deciding what those should be. And then depending on what the cancellation reason is, providing that customer with a tailored offer that combats the reason they've given for canceling their subscription. So if they say, this subscription is too much money, obviously you can offer them a steeper discount to renew. If they say they have too much product right now, and that's honestly a huge reason why people end up canceling subscriptions, they just have too much product, rather than canceling the subscription, give them the option to pause, or again, going back to this, gift that subscription and send it to one of their friends to try the product. And so it's just really being thoughtful about why people are actually canceling a subscription, and giving them a much easier road to stay subscribed. As you see on the screen, I think having these set up and ready to go can increase retention up to 40% in terms of fixing those cancellation flows. So this is a huge opportunity for any brand that relies on subscriptions to increase retention.
Up to 40% are retained.
Yeah.
That's incredible. So yeah, a very, very good tip. Ask why someone would ever want to leave. So moving on, and on that particular note, it really, really sort of like dovetails into what we do here at LTV Plus. So we know that working with subscription businesses, that almost 50% of all churn is caused by actually failed payments. And we know that more than 85% of customers never respond to dunning emails. I'm one of these people as well that would, I've got thousands and thousands of emails in my inbox, even from brands that I do like and love. However, do I sit there and read through all of them? No, I definitely don't. So when people are sending just dunning emails alone, as you said, 85% of those people aren't responding to them. We help businesses recover at least 50% of their monthly lost revenue and improve their retention based on a few things that we do. So, and these are tips for businesses, not just working with LTV Plus, but in general. What you should be doing is looking at getting a payment recovery specialist. So hire someone, train someone, get them engaging with your customers in order to recover some of that lost revenue. In addition to what Chris was saying just now, find out what your customers are thinking. So going back to that whole why would someone ever leave piece, it's a case of ask them, what is it that you don't like about the product, or is it why are you canceling your subscription? Because then you get really good insights into how your customers are feeling, one, and you can then action those points as well. So as Chris said, you can offer them a tailored discount. You could, if there's an issue with the product, you can offer a replacement, etc., etc. But just sending them an email alone, I don't think will cut it. We know that by speaking to people, we're recovering over 50% of the monthly lost revenue for businesses. So, Chris, do you see anything similar in terms of recovery? Or with your customers, are you seeing them using multiple channels to recover some of these subscriptions?
Yeah, definitely. I think that failed payments is so important, and having that automatic email go out when your system detects that there is some kind of billing error expected um, is so important to any brand that has any kind of recurring payment going on. So I think you're absolutely right. The multi-channel aspect of recovery is so important, not just in the flow itself, but email, payment, all that kind of stuff.
Fantastic. Great.
Mhm.
The other element as well to think about around Black Friday and Cyber Monday is recovering abandoned shopping carts. According to the Bayman Institute, 70% of shoppers abandon their shopping carts. Now, there are a number of reasons that people do this, right? As human beings, sometimes you put something in the basket, you get busy, the kids distract you, and you don't come back. It could be that your checkout process, for example, is too complex. So people may leave something in that basket and never come back. So these are all elements that you need to be considering as businesses to say, well, okay, how easy is it for my shoppers to, complete their cart? Number one. If they don't complete the cart, what are you doing about it? So again, at LTV Plus, when we're working with brands, we are helping them to re-engage and recover those abandoned shopping carts by using human beings who will actually just call you, send you an SMS or WhatsApp, email you, of course. But we using that multi-channel strategy to actually recover payments and recover shopping carts works really, really well. Um, the other tip is to use personalized interactions with every customer because customers are different, right? You'll have some VIP customers, you'll have some customers that will only shop with you once. Um, it's important to differentiate between those and actually personalize your interactions with those customers according to their importance and their worth within your business. I mean, don't get me wrong, every customer is important. We know that. But with your VIP customers, maybe they need a little bit more love and attention. So have a little think around that. And then also data-driven insights on card recovery. So as we spoke about before, it's getting that data, getting that insight into why are people abandoning their shopping carts. And then you can put in place processes that will help retain those customers going forward, but with data behind it. So there's no point in just doing something without having the data insights to actually guide your responses and your policies and your progress towards your cart your cart abandonment strategy. So something to think about there. Chris, do you guys work on cart abandonment at all, or within Smarter?
So it's not something we do specifically, but I think what's important here is in the tech stack having integrations that allow data from Smarter to talk to other providers that do cart abandonment or web experiences. So you can send some of your subscriber data and how people are interacting with your subscriptions to be able to do some of these cart enablement or cart abandonment flows or website notifications. So super important. And we recognize that. And that's why we integrate with some great partners to be able to do so.
Brilliant. Okay. And then we talked a little bit about, the personalization. So proactive personalized follow-ups to high value customers. So I touched on it a little bit earlier, but intelligent personalization. So what we're talking about here is don't send templates out. I mean, templates and using a one size fits all strategy does not work. You would not approach a group of people in the same way every single time. So, for example, if I walk into a party, I'm not going to say, hi, Chris, hi, Chris, hi, Chris, hi. I'm not. I'm going to greet them all by their own individual names. So why use a one size fits all strategy with your customers? So it's important to have a little think about what is it about your high value customers that what makes them them. So use personalization as much as possible there. And then Relevant interactions at the right time. Very, very important. I'm sure, Chris, you'll see this with your customers as well. There's no point in sending someone an email at 2 a.m. in the morning saying, hey, I think you've abandoned your cart or your subscription's failed, because all that's going to happen is that they won't see it because they're asleep. By the time they get up in the morning, they've got 1,000 other emails come through and you're right at the very bottom. So think about when those customers are interacting with your site. So if a customer maybe put something in their basket at 7 p.m. and left it there overnight, don't contact them at 2 a.m. in the morning, contact them 7 p.m. the next day. Say, hey, by the way, did you realize that you left this in your basket? Because we human beings, we're creatures of habit. So it's quite probable that when you're doing that, you're doing the same thing round about the same time of the same day, right? So think about when you're reaching out to contact your customers. Tailored content and approach. Again, we've touched on that already, but make sure that the content and is personalized and your approach is personalized to those individuals as well. And then another important point, which a lot of people miss out on, is multilingual support teams for smooth communication. Now, if you're, well, let's take a step back. Every business, if you're online, you've got a website, you're a global business because your shoppers will come from anywhere around the world because they've got access to the internet. If I'm sending out a cart abandonment email in English to someone who speaks Italian, the likelihood of them understanding what I'm saying is not going to be too high. So it's important to think about your customer demographics and tailor the messaging that's going out by geography if necessary, and by languages without a doubt. You have to do the languages as well. Then the final 2 points are 24/7 availability. We talked about sending interactions at the right time. So if you've got a wider team, try and do that where you can to basically utilize the teams of the various time zones to reach out to those people. And then again, re-engage via text, email, phone, or chat. That multi-channel process will really help you re-engage those customers. Primarily because, like I said, email, if you're just using one channel only, you're not going to get very far. So try use as many channels as you can in order to do that. Any comments on that, Chris? Do you see this working for your customers?
Yeah, I think anytime you have a chance to personalize any interaction, it's usually going to be beneficial. And I think you made a few really good points. Some of it is very logical, but the amount of brands or companies we see that aren't doing simple things like, going back to the one-time upsells or product upsells. If someone is subscribing to a specific product, you probably shouldn't ask them to keep buying more of that product. Suggest them something else, and just making sure that you're at least doing the things that make total sense is already a big win for a lot of brands here. So I really agree with you. Like to your point about sending a cart abandonment email at 2 a.m. It seems obvious, but a lot of times it's not executed on.
Exactly right. You'd be surprised how many people do that, and you're like, "Well, I got this email at 3 a.m." They're like, "Well, yeah, these things happen, right?" And then another strategy to keep your customers happy is going to be benchmarking SLA expectations per channel. So we always advise our clients, set clear expectations for your policies, right? So whether that's going to be your returns policy, how long is it before you will stop accepting returns? And similarly with exchanges, with shipping, how long is it going to take? What should they expect? If I purchase from you today, do I get it in 5 to 7 days? Do I get it in a month later, etc.? Set those expectations. What happens with lost packages? What are your claim submission processes when something does get lost? So it's really important to set these clear expectations for your customers so they know exactly what to expect. That way, they're not going to inundate you with queries. But when you meet those expectations, then you've got a happy customer. The other thing is to ensure that your SLA is communicated everywhere. So not just on the receipt, it's on your product pages. It's going to be on your checkout process, on your order confirmation emails, in your FAQs. If you're using live chat, put it on the chat bots as well. So really publicize those SLAs so people know exactly what to expect from you. And then also provide response times for each channel. Now, this bit is really important. So on your website, for example, for live chat, it's really important to set expectations on when someone will be with you. There's nothing more frustrating than going onto a website with live chat, clicking on there, and it says your advisor will be with you shortly, but how long is shortly? 10 minutes later, someone's not there. So set those expectations because you can lose customers in that way. Similarly with email, if someone sends you an email, if you're not able to respond to it immediately, set those expectations. Thank you for your email. We'll get back to you within 24, 48 hours, whatever it may be. Social media, exactly the same principles apply. Similarly with phone. And with phone, it doesn't really happen as much, but when some people call, I call some businesses up and they say, we'll be with you, you're number one in the queue and we'll be with you in 5 minutes, which is fantastic. So I know whether to hang up or to stay on the line rather than just wait forever and ever with horrible hold music, which everybody hates. And SMS, exactly the same principles apply as to the email and social media messages as well. Then finally, use data and be realistic. Don't try and impress your shoppers with, we've got the fastest response times, etc. If your customer service teams can't deliver that, it's just going to create frustration. Your customers will hate you and they will go elsewhere. So use your software, whatever platforms you've got, to benchmark your average response times across all those channels, and then use that to publicize your response times to your customers as well. Chris, any thoughts around any of that?
Yeah, I think a lot of what you touch on is super important from a customer experience and a customer experience standpoint. And well, not our, wheelhouse in terms of support and setting these expectations, but I think on the subscription side, being clear, I think going back to like understanding, especially from a subscriber standpoint, that these are your most important customers. And something we talked about earlier is that one way to actually increase subscribers is really lay out the benefits of subscribing to your product. And so going back to setting expectations, that's a really, that's a way to start there. Like these are all the benefits you're going to get to subscribing in addition to discounts, whether that's, again, access to exclusive products, member only perks, or any other slew of options. I think once you set those expectations, actually executing on it, to your point, don't set expectations that you can't meet, because that's one way to really upset someone who has, shown that they're willing to buy your product over and over again. So I think that idea of expectations that you can execute on is super important.
Especially with new customers. And again, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, even coming into the holiday period, you will get a lot of new customers. And if you're not meeting those expectations and you've set them too high, then they're just going to consider that to be a bad experience and will not come back. So it's super important to set those expectations and make sure they're realistic. Then I think the final one for us is stay connected with the customers after the Black Friday, Cyber Monday rush. So a few things that happen after this is you will get some return. Analyze the return reasons. Have your customer service team, send personal follow-ups. Analyze the reasons why they're returning products, and act on it. Right, get that insight from your customers, and try to delight them. Send delight to surprise emails with personalized offers. I think, Chris, we touched on personalization and personalized offers a bit earlier. Ask for reviews and reward them. Now, just on that little point there, when you ask for reviews and reward for them, it's important that you're not saying, give us a good review and we'll reward you for it, because a lot of the review sites out there will penalize you if you're going to be doing that. So you're not allowed to incentivize a good review, but you are allowed to ask for a review and give people rewards. So good or bad, write us a review and you can get a reward. That's fine. But Rewarding them for good reviews, absolutely no, don't do it. Then finally, analyze CSAT and NPS scores and design retention campaigns to boost them, right? So look at those CSAT scores, understand what's happening there with your customers, indeed the net promoter scores as well, and then think about what you can do to retain those customers, and then build a campaign around them. A lot of people don't really use their CSAT and NPS scores, which is a shame. And Chris, as a marketer, I'm sure you'll be pulling your hair out hearing that people are not using their CSAT and NPS scores. But as a marketer, what do you think around that?
Yeah, and I just want to go back to, I think, the stay connected and sending delight and surprise emails with personalized offers. Like I said, I think acquisition is just step one to actually having someone who's truly loyal to your brand, and having those types of tactics, constant engagement that brings that delight and surprise is almost in some ways more important than the initial acquisition when we're talking about what's going to lead to long-term success and really driving that long-term value. And I think something I mentioned before is going back and when we think about staying connected, really looking at the data and telling you when that connection typically drops off, and using these tactics to help combat that drop off at the times when are most crucial to keeping customers. And you can do that using that CSAT and NPS over time throughout your customer's journey, and crafting tactics and campaigns that to help improve it. It's so important.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that advice as well. Really good. So, Chris, thank you very much. We're almost at the end here. Just wanted to ask, how can people get in touch with you?
Sure. You can check us out at smarter.com with 2 R's, or please feel free to connect with myself on LinkedIn or shoot me an email. My email is just chris@smarter.com. So would love to connect. Doesn't have to necessarily be about Smarter, but just talk through more tactics on retention and LTV for the holidays. Happy to chat.
Awesome. Thank you. And to contact us at LTV Plus, you can contact me, chili like the pepper, at ltvplus.com. And you can go on to ltvplus.com, our website, for more insights into how to retain and delight your customers, more importantly. But thank you very much for joining us today, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.